This is Education Without Borders by Wanjiku the engineer. Lest we forget where we came from, I want you to walk with me a 12-year journey with Karen PCEA Church to see the construction projects, how they went about it, where they were, where we are going. Welcome. PCEA Karen Church started way back in 2007, but it moved to the current site, which is in Karen Shopping Center, next to the hub. It moved in 2012. And when it moved in 2012, it moved in tents. As you can see, these are the tents. That was 2012. And the dream is to be in a new sanctuary, a bigger sanctuary for worship in 2026 or thereabout. So this is 2012, and we pray that you'll be in a bigger for worship sanctuary in 2026. When you move into a new location, either as a community or even as an individual, even when you're putting up a construction project, it's very important to first take care of the sanitation. This is an ablution block, so the church started with doing a very decent ablution block. It has both male and female washrooms. Very decent, and it's being used up to now. These two tents shown there were the tents which were being used for tea, for socializing. It's a very social church. This is a container that was brought in to store the Bibles, the chairs during the week. You can see how the site looked like. Not so decent, but walk with me the journey. You see where we came from, where we are going. So we came from an environment like that, quite dusty. The tents had to be washed every Saturday and pitched back to make sure they were decent. They were very dedicated Christians there. So these are the tents. You can see this is now on a Saturday evening. The tents are clean and ready to serve tea, because you cannot have tea in the same place that you worship. Neither could we have tea inside a container. So you can see as time went by, there was beautification around the tents. This was the worshiping place for PCEA Karen Church from 2012 all the way to 2014. That's another view of how the tents look like. You can see as the population was growing, there was need to increase the number of tents, the space, and it worked quite well. You can see the compound is nicely done, not muddy, very clean, decent, a bit of beautification, and it was a beautiful place up to now. In the adjacent area, very close to where the tents are, at one corner of the plot, there used to be some stab columns or foundations, which had been put there in anticipation of putting a small church building. And the leadership of that time, with the local church committee, proposed and made a decision that it was time to put up that structure so that people don't continue living in worshiping in tents all through. So these are one of the columns, sub columns, which was already existed. They had been done more than 10 years earlier, and they were inspected and found to be intact, durable, and ready to take up a structure. So work started. The contractor came to site. The site was handed over. they opened up and all the columns were inspected and extended so that it could be the part of the structure of the sanctuary. As time went on, you can see the columns are now being concreted. There's formwork, very neat, being concreted, and the work went on. That's a ground beam. You can see there was need to do a ground beam because the soils were not very stable, and this was done with no problem. These are the same ground beams going on and backfilling the spaces with better soil, red coffee soil, replacing the black cotton soil with red coffee soil. And it's the same story for the slab. Below the slab, the red coffee soil was put, compacted, rolled and compacted, and a dam from membrane was laid to make sure that we reduce the amount of moisturizing. And the construction went on. The slab was reinforced with steel bars in both directions as seen, and the work continued without any hitch. It was a 10-week project which was constructed without any hitch whatsoever. The walls, the slab has been done, as you can see. Now the walls are coming up. These are the stones which were used. The masonry units were of very high quality. For a masonry building, it's important to inspect the units themselves and make sure they are not porous, they are hard and durable. That's what happened. And this is what was used to build the sanctuary. And the walls are coming up. You can see very good workmanship. This is from the front view. As you can see, the walls are coming up. This is the entrance porch coming up. Also, it has a ground beam as seen in that picture. This is one of the longer sides of the sanctuary, also done very professionally. These are the vestry at the back. The stones again, very consistent and very high quality stones. These are routine inspection on one day of the week to make sure that the contractor was doing the work as expected. You can see the walls are very plumb and the work was done very well, satisfactorily. And the sanctuary was finished, dedicated, and the congregation moved in. We are now in 2013, and the congregation has continued to grow, and there was need now to have an extension tent. So you see, we had moved from a tent to a masonry stone permanent building, but now we have started extending with tent. Therefore, what do we do? Now, the leadership again proposed, and it was decided we need to put up a bigger sanctuary for worship. It's actually dubbed bigger for worship. And that is what is the main focus of the church as a project at the moment. That is what is anticipated, a very magnificent, bigger for worship, a building, state of the art, sitting right there where there used to be original tents. This is a view taken. This is a view from the Karen Shopping Center direction. There's a city council dispensary from that direction. That's the view we shall see. The roof is imposing, a steel roof, very magnificent. As you can see, it's very high. You can see there are high level windows and administrative offices at the back and meeting rooms. This is another view from the direction of the hub. Again, you can see it's a very magnificent building that PCEA Karen Church hopes will be done and finished without any hitch in the next 3 years. If you are interested in following how our current PCEA Church is going with its bigger for worship construction, visit my YouTube channel, like it, share it, and subscribe. And don't forget to drop a comment below.